Am I useless? I feel that way when I can't do something I used to be able to do, which, let's face it, the older I get, the more that seems to happen. But at what point do you declare yourself useless? We usually call something useless when it can no longer do what we need it to do. Like the old shoes I have in my closet that have holes in them and I've been told are no longer fit for public display, but for some reason I can't get rid of them. I like useless things, things with no quantifiable purpose. And the more useless it is, the more I seem to like it. There's a certain kind of beauty in useless things. I was hiking in the forest the other day and I found this car just off the path decaying in a patch of wildflowers. It was a mystery. Clearly it had been there for a while, abandoned by someone, probably because they thought it was useless. But now I find it strangely beautiful. And it's the rust and the broken parts that make it interesting. Like trees that have, for one reason or another, lost their vitality and no longer do the jobs that trees are supposed to do, like make oxygen and provide shade. People usually just chop them down and burn them. But I find it's these old, gnarly, dead and dying trees that interest me the most. They have character. They look like they've seen a few things. Maybe I could even learn something from them. Like this one. It fell down in the middle of a waterfall a few years ago, and I'm sure some people think it has ruined the view. But I think it gives the scene authenticity. Because it's the useless things that make it seem like real life. Otherwise it seems too perfect, like a Disney version of reality, all polished up and scrubbed of its decay and rust. They got rid of this house just when it was starting to develop some real character. I had driven by, taken its picture a couple of times, but I came by a third time and it was gone. It had been torn down and deposited in a dumpster. I don't know how long this bridge will last. It's been blocked off from cars for quite a few years, but I'm guessing its uselessness will be its demise eventually. But I hope not. It's just starting to look good. I don't know why everyone always wants to look younger. It's the dents and cracks of old age that really make people interesting. They tell a story. They have a beauty that you can only get through living a life of hardship and failure. It's tempting to think of a cemetery as the last gathering place for people who have finally become useless. Oak Ridge in Springfield, Illinois is a large, sprawling cemetery with gravestones that go all the way back to the mid-1800s. And yet it is anything but neglected. Over 1 million people visit it every year. Now, that's mostly due to its most famous resident, Abraham Lincoln, but it's also the home to many other important people, like William Donegan, a shoemaker in Springfield who famously helped a lot of slaves to freedom. The cemetery is considered by many sacred space, which is pretty amazing considering the people in it haven't done anything the world considers useful in quite a few years. But if you walk through this cemetery or any cemetery, you see tombstones that were made for people who were clearly important at the time they died, but now the impressive stone memorials are neglected and crumbling. But even this erosion of memory has a certain beauty that can't be matched by all the shiny new structures around them. Feeling useless reminds us that our value is not simply our productivity. Our worth can't be measured by a list of our accomplishments. There is beauty in simply being a part of this creation, no matter what we can or can't do. The next time you're feeling especially useless, just tell yourself you're developing character. After all, it is the cracks and the rust that make all of us much more interesting.